Hey, how's it going? Slightly different format today. I got my old Ibanez RG 470 out. A bit of history right there. This is my first guitar ever that I got when I was 16 in 1996. Now, based on the serial number, this guitar was made in 95. So, yeah, God, that makes me feel old. Anyway, I'm recording another video with this guitar as we speak. Well, not obviously as we speak, but you know what I mean. And before I can record anything with it, I started recording with it and I noticed a couple of problems, which is that when you tune the guitar up, open strings are fine, 12 frets are fine, action, everything else is okay, or playable or within tolerance. However, everything under the 5th fret, so 1, 2, 3, 4, if you press down on the first one, it's always sharp. Now that's normal to some level, but this is ridiculous. I mean, it's closer to the second note than to the actual note that it should be, if you see what I mean. So here's what I think the problem is. I replaced this bridge about 10 years ago because originally it was golden hardware, which I wasn't a huge fan of. And I think the problem is because I also replaced the nut. I think the nut is too high. So today we will try and lower it a little bit. See how that goes. Now, warning. Because I'm an idiot and I have no idea what I'm doing, I might completely ruin this instrument. So be careful when you try this at home, kids. As you can see, the open C is spot on. At the 12th fret, it's slightly sharp, which has to do with intonation, which we will fix later. And there you can see me pressing down at the 3rd fret and it's completely sharp. Checking the action there to make sure it's not too high, which it was, so we need to adjust that slightly. You do that by turning the bridge anchors, I believe they're called. Basically some screws. They're trying to lower the bridge to get rid of some of the height. Yeah, perfect, Chief. Flip her over, because by lowering the bridge, it has risen up slightly. So to fix that, I'm tightening the screws in the those springs in the back, and there you can see it's perfectly flat now. That's, to my knowledge, is how it should be. So tuning again. Open C, perfect. And now pressing down on the 1st fret, and you can see it's still very sharp, so we need to work on that. Trying to get the intonation right, and we're doing that by firstly loosening the string so we can get to those tiny little Allen keys. And basically I'm trying to push the saddle back slightly, which will give the string more length to vibrate, I guess. So that's how we fix the intonation. That means it will be in tune on the 12th fret and on the open string. And if we still have a problem after doing this step, then we know that there's something else going on. And we need to look into that further. So yeah, tuning up again. Get that C, there it is. Oh no, yeah, oh, yeah, oh yes, there it is. And at the 12th fret, nice. However, checking that first fret, third fret, first fret. You can see how sharp it is, so that's still not good. So it's time to get the feeler gauge out. You can see me pressing down on the third fret there, trying to get the depth at the first fret. Now for comparison, I got my other Ibanez out, the Prestige, and you can see the low action on that one. That's a beast. The feeler gauge is telling me it's a 6, and on the other one I think it was a 12 or something, so it's nearly double. So yeah, time to get the nut off. I've taken all the strings off, take the nut off, and what we want to do is basically remove a little bit of wood so the nut can sit a tad lower. I think we measured the difference to be 6. Now what I didn't mention, this guitar has slightly worn frets, so don't go too mad, because if you lower the nut too much and you ever replace those frets, then you're in trouble. What I'm doing here is I'm trying with that knife, I'm trying to score a line of where I want to be. Get your favorite file, because obviously you do have a favorite file, and file away. Be careful, try to hold the file as flat as you can, because there's nothing worse than being off balance and filing off more on one side than the other, and then you're really in trouble. I mean, you know, nothing can fix that, because you can always take off more, but if you've gone too far, that's it. Probably your best bet is a professional luthier, which I'm not. So file away. Oh, by the way, while the tremolo was out, I decided to give it a little clean. So I'm taking it apart, because in there is like 10 years of built up gunk, rust, and you know, my hands are very sweaty and acidic, so my hands can rust away anything. Look at that. Gross. The amount of DNA in there, I guess you could probably clone me out of that. So yeah, give it a good clean. I'm not showing it here, but I used some WD-40 to clean, to get the rust off the screws. Now, what I don't understand is why they can't make these screws out of some sort of material that doesn't rust. But hey, who am I to judge, right? So we're cleaning away. Doopy-doopy-doop, be-doopy-doop. Oh yes, get it in there. We're back on, we temporarily put the nut back on, and I'm using my ruler here to simulate the string pressed down at the 3rd fret, and I'm using the 6, which we used on the initial reference guitar, to measure our gap, and I think we're good. Look at that. Time to put the nut back on. Oh, what a fine bit of craftsmanship. While the nuts are taken off, no, not nuts, sorry, the bridge, the saddles more precisely, I've noticed they have numbers on the back, and in case you ever wondered what those numbers are for, because I was slightly confused, they are, because your neck has a radius, basically your nut, your saddle is trying to follow that radius slightly. Now I have no idea what the radius on this guitar is. Probably, I reckon it's about 12 inch. But you have to make sure that you put those saddles back in order. So the smallest or the shallowest on the outside, which is funnily the number 2, and then number 1, and then the one with no marking on. putting the tremolo back together. I'm sure you know how to do this, by the way. I'm just showing it just in case somebody doesn't. And back it goes. No, yes, there it is. Beautiful, nice and clean. Put the strings back in. Strings, not strings, springs. That's the one. Stretchy, stretch. There we go. No, it's not in yet. That's what she said. Yeah, now it's in. Nice. So I think we are ready to put the strings back on and see what we actually did. All right. I think the operation was a success. I put her back together, put the strings back on, and I think we even got ourselves a slightly nicer action. It feels better. So we're in a better position than before, which is good. There were no major incidents. I didn't screw up anything. So yeah, I think fingers crossed we're good. So let's see what we actually did. Now, unfortunately, I didn't realize at the time, but I put the camera in a really unfortunate angle, so you can't actually see the note on the tuner, but hey, hopefully you'll hear it on the camera mic. There's the C, and there's the C sharp, and I think we did pretty well. Now, it will never be perfect because of the anatomy of a guitar, but I think that's close enough. It's definitely better than it was before. So thanks for watching, and I can finally go and record that song that I was talking about, which you will be able to see anytime soon in my next video.